Bring the feet together. So you begin to squeeze the thighs towards each other. And then go ahead and bend the knees, bring the sit bones back behind you. Bring the hands to heart center. So this will be our warm-up. We're going to inhale, open the arms up, tilt the pelvis forward, and then exhale, tilt the pelvis back, round the lower back and tuck the chin. Great. So inhale deeply as you open and expand the chest. And then exhale, tilt the pelvis under, draw the belly in, squeeze, and then inhale, release, and open. Great. Just a couple more breaths like this. So we're starting to work the legs, bring a little bit of energy into the navel center, and deepen the breath all at the same time. Okay, so let's do that one more time. Inhale, open. And then as you exhale, close, bring the hands together, stay here, and just lift the chest slightly. Great. Keep lengthening through the lower back. And then as you exhale, draw the belly towards the back body, sink just a little deeper for your last breath. Great. And then exhale, release the hands to the ground and step back into all fours. Spread the fingers wide and begin to press the floor away so you feel the shoulder blades beginning to broaden onto the back. Now we're going to straighten the right leg straight back behind you. Have the toes tucked under, and you're reaching through the heel. So Emily, see if you can bring your foot just back a little bit more. Perfect. And once again, you're pressing the floor away. Begin to, on an exhale, engage the abdominal muscles, and we're going to start to hover the left knee about 1 inch off the ground. Great. Hold there for a breath. And then as you exhale, begin to round the back, tuck the knee in, and begin to, almost like you're trying to kiss or make out with your knee. Hold there for 2 breaths. Beautiful. And then release slowly. Hover the knee over the ground for 1 last breath. And then release down. Come back to all fours. Take a resting breath. And now we'll do the left side. Extend the left leg straight back. Reach through the heel. Press the floor away. And then when you're ready, exhale, begin to engage the abdominal muscles first, and then lift the right knee about 1 inch off the ground. So you're just hovering. Great. And then as you exhale, begin to round the back, bring the knee into the chest, tuck the chin, trying to kiss your knee. Hold there for 2 breaths. Great. And then release, hover the knee for 1 last breath. And then exhale, release back down. Perfect. All right. So now we're going to come into the full plank with extending both legs back. We'll just hold for 3 breaths. So as you exhale, begin to strongly engage the belly in towards the back body. The back of the thighs are lifting up, and you're pressing the floor away, and the shoulder blades are broadening. Great. Take 1 more deep breath, extend out. And then as you exhale, shift forward slightly, bend the elbows, lower all the way down to the ground. Bring the forearms out in front. We're going to come into Sphinx pose. Spread the fingers wide and have the elbows directly underneath the shoulders. You're going to press down strongly through the tops of the feet, lift the kneecaps, and we're going to work dynamically in and out of Sphinx pose, starting to work the transverse abdominal muscles. So those are the deepest layer of abdominal muscles. They run horizontally, almost like a girdle all the way around. So as you exhale, press down strongly through the tops of the feet, and then lift the hips, round the back, and tuck the chin like you're looking underneath your belly, and then inhale, release back down. Great, we're going to do that 8 times total, so 7 more times. Exhale, you engage and lift. Inhale, you release down and soften. Great, and you should feel this instantly starting to target those deep muscles, the transverse abdominal muscles. Beautiful. And releasing down. Take a resting breath here. So you can even pretend like you're trying to drag the floor towards you, lift through the chest, just taking a gentle stretch of the abdominal muscles. Great. And then relax, release down, and come onto your back. bend the knees, have the ankles directly underneath the knees and the feet about hip distance apart. Hands are resting alongside the body. And now we're going to begin to work the rectus abdominal muscles. We're going to do this for about 30 seconds. So point the fingers forward and act as though you're reaching for your heels. As you exhale, you're going to begin to lift the head and shoulders, just reaching forward and then releasing back down on inhale. So exhale, coming up, and inhaling, releasing down. So about 30 seconds. And just moving with the breath. So the slower you move, the more you actually work the muscles. The faster you move, then you don't really get to engage the muscles for as long. So remember that and keep that in mind. Great, we have about 10 more seconds to go. And you should feel this targeting the rectus abdominal muscles. Those are our six-pack muscles. 3 more times. Great. All right. We should be pretty warmed up by now. All right, so we're going to come back up to a seated position and sit in Dandasana, staff pose. And have 2 blocks. You may not need the blocks for this, but I find for myself I have shorter arms, so the blocks come in handy. So we're going to bring the blocks right alongside the hips. And I like them actually just a little bit forward of the hips. And place your hands right on the blocks. And so depending on your torso length and the length of your arms, you might want to put the blocks in a different height, so you can experiment. But make sure that the hands are flat on the block. And then lean forward just slightly. And then before you begin to lift the hips, we're going to exhale and begin to engage the deep layer, the transverse abdominal muscles and the rectus abdominal muscles, and then lift the hips. So press down through the hands and lift the hips. Great. Now stay there, and then work at lifting one leg. It doesn't matter which one. And then just release down. And the other leg. And release down. Let's do that one more time on each leg. Lift the right leg, down, and the other leg, up and down. Hold for one more breath. Great. Exhale, release down. So that's starting to work the hip flexors and the psoas. Great. And then we can just remove the blocks. And we're almost there. All right. So we're going to bend the knees. Place the soles of the feet on the mat, and then grab onto the back of your legs right underneath your knees. So lean back onto your sit bones. So you're kind of on the back edge of the sit bones, and begin to lift the legs. And the shins come parallel to the ground. So we're going to move in and out of boat pose before we actually hold the pose. So you're going to extend the arms. On an exhale, you're going to lean back, straighten the legs, Ardha Navasana, and then exhale, come back. So inhale, extend out, and exhale, fold in. We'll just do this a few times. You'll know when you've had enough. Usually for me, it's about 8 to 10 times, and I can definitely begin to feel the burn. Great. One more time, Emily. And then release down, and just fold forward and release, relax. Take a few resting breaths. So now we're going to come into Navasana, and we're going to hold the pose. And it's up to you really how long you want to hold the pose for. So once again, let's grab onto the back of the legs, right underneath the knees, and then lean back just a little bit so you're on the back edge of your sit bones. And then when you're ready, begin to lift up through the pelvic floor, engage the abdominal muscles, and then lift the legs. So for this variation, we can just come into with the knees bent and come a little higher so that the shins are parallel to the ground. Great. See if you can squeeze in just a little bit more. And then when you're ready, release the hands. Extend the hands out in front. Beautiful. And continue to breathe here. Now, if you want to challenge yourself, you can always work at straightening the legs. Otherwise, staying here and just holding the pose can be plenty of a challenge. Beautiful. And the hardest thing here is not to allow the lower back to round. Yes, so lifting through the chest. And if you smile, you'll tell yourself that you're happy and you're enjoying yourself and loving this pose. So one more deep breath. And then exhale, release down, lean forward, take a few resting breaths. Great. All right, so one last pose we're going to do just to stretch the abdominal muscles and relax the breath. So come onto your back and take one of your blocks. And we're going to place it underneath the lower back onto the sacrum. And use the lowest height for this. Straighten the right leg and allow the heel to rest on the ground. And then hug the left knee into the chest. So that right leg is nice and long, and feel the extension. And you can actually feel almost like the psoas in the transverse abdominal muscles and the rectus abdominal muscles are just lengthening. And then see if you can begin to breathe into the right side of the lower abdomen. If you find it helpful, you can take your right hand and even place it on the belly. And pretend like you're breathing into that hand. And as you inhale, you can maybe feel the belly beginning to expand. And just releasing. We'll release the side and do the other. So straightening the left leg and hugging the right knee into the chest. Keep that left leg straight, grounding down through the heel. And then if you like, you can place the left hand on the left side of the lower abdomen and just beginning to breathe into the hand, feeling a gentle stretch through the psoas, the hip flexors, the rectus abdominal muscles, and the transverse abdominal muscles. And then go ahead and release. Bend both knees, bring the heels directly underneath the knees. And you can keep the block at this height, or if you want to come into height, if you want to heighten the block, please feel free to. And we'll just come into a supported bridge pose, closing the eyes, relaxing the jaw. Great, and just softening through the throat. As you inhale, allow the belly to expand. And as you exhale, the belly gently falls. Just allow the body to relax and to soften. And you're welcome to stay here for as long as you want. And that completes our practice. Namaste.